Yo, what up, man? A Triple B's in the house. And, well, he's in the basement, you know what I'm saying? Now, so what do we got here? So we had announced officially on Sunday, the 20th of April, in Birmingham, England, as David Greenblatt would say. Ben Shalom from Boxer has announced a bill, and it's actually half decent for once. So there's 4 fights thus far announced, and none of them are women's, thank goodness. But then he's made history. He's made history with the Royal Albert Hall all women's fight, where only 10% of the tickets will actually be bought. The rest will be given away. He's such a bum, Shalom. He don't know nothing about business and nothing about boxing. And his eyes are too close together, like Ben Whittaker's. So, and Ben Whittaker is I guess it's not the main event. The main event, I guess, is Lee Cutler v. Sam Eggington. Supposedly. Well, that's the first listed on BoxRec. It would be the nominal main event. The main event would clearly be Ben Whittaker v. Liam Cameron in terms of interest. There's also Fraser Clark coming back from having his face caved in against Ebenezer Tete, who's a dangerous guy. 23 wins, 20 KOs, 2 losses, both by KO. He gave Dillian White a decent fight, but he got ironed out and won by Daniel Dubam. And he's one of them African guys. Well, he says he's 36, but he looks at least 46, possibly 56. Him and Luis Ortiz should fight for the ancient granddad heavyweight title. But I've got nothing wrong with that fight. Fraser's obviously come back from having his face caved in, by Fabio Wardley. Tyler Denny vs. Elvis Ahorga. Elvis Ahorga is the guy the soldier. Hello, I'm a soldier. I come to beat Callum Simpson. I will win this fight. Dancing around and doing all kind of African things. So he just got stopped by Simpson. So he's fighting Tyler Denny. I'm not interested in Tyler Denny. Yeah, he got KO'd by Hamza Shiraz in 2 rounds. He also got KO'd by Reece Cartwright. He's got 19 wins, 3 losses, 2 by KO, and 3 draws. But he's only got 1 knockout. I can't believe anybody who's a middleweight. That's even Sonny Edwards has a better KO rate. Think about that. I can't understand how a middleweight boxer can only KO 1 person in 25 fights. It's insane, man. But he's game, I know that, but he's fighting this African dude. It's a nothing fight. No, it might be interesting, in that case, it might be a good row. But, in terms of what it means, on the world scene, or even in the British scene, or the Commonwealth scene, or whatever you want to say, it don't mean nothing, not a thing, right? No one cares. But if it's a good fight, then I'm cool with it. Lee Cutler v. Sam Eggington. Interesting fight. Lee Cutler's only lost once. He got killed in 1 round, though, by Bradley Rhea, I don't know how to pronounce it. Rhea, I suppose. He was unbeaten at the time. Rhea's a decent fighter. Anyone can get caught. Rhea's weirdly lost to Tyler Denny. So that's Tyler Denny's biggest win, I guess. Which is interesting. But Rhea KO'd Lee Cutler in a round. Anyone can get caught cold. Or not anyone, but Oliver McCall ain't getting caught cold. Jake LaMotta ain't getting caught cold. George Chuvalla ain't getting caught cold in a round. But if you know anything about boxing, the first round, especially with heavyweights, they're kind of vulnerable in the first round because they haven't quite warmed up. Their chin hasn't quite warmed up. Sometimes you'll get a fighter and you get put over and badly hurt in the first round, and you'll get up and then you'll start taking the punches better. And he won't go down again. It's quite weird. So, he might have been caught cold, Lee Cutler. Sam Eggington, he's always in a good fight. But, I can't believe, he's 31, the savage. His eyes are actually also too close together. Check it out. But I won't hold that against Sam. Even though his eyes are too close together, I won't hold that against Sam because he's such a warrior. So I can't disrespect that guy. But, he's had a lot of hard fights, He seems to be around forever. I'm sorry, I remembered him fighting in the 80s. But in all seriousness, so like, he's had 44 fights, but all tough fights. He's a decent puncher, but not a major puncher. He's had 20 KOs out of, 44 fights, so that's less than 50% KO ratio. You go through his record, he's been in some barn burners, He KO'd Ashley Theophane, the fruity Ashley Theophane. He lost a great fight against Ted Cheeseman on points. He got stopped by Liam Smith. I would like to have seen him win that Eggington, but this is what I forgot. I watched the press conference, right? Sam Eggington knocked out Paulie Malignaggi in 8 rounds. I totally didn't remember that, man. He retired 2 days later. Malignaggi was obviously shot, but that's pretty nuts. He also stopped Frankie Gavin in the fight before. I'd forgotten these fights, man. He beat Glenn Foote, who I thought was going to go far, but he didn't. So, I mean, we all know, there's all kinds of good wins of British-level fighters. I mean, Paulie obviously won the world title, but he was shot by then. Denton Vassell got KO'd as well. So, Johnny Garton was a decent fighter, got KO'd in 2 rounds. We've got a warrior here. We know my only worry is, of course, Eggington. That he takes a lot of shots. And I don't like to see that. Pro boxing is a dangerous game, man. I've said that a million times, but it's a million times a dangerous game. Lee Cutler. I'll have a look at the odds when they come out. Yeah, the odds haven't come out on the Eggington-Lee Cutler fight. I think it'll be interesting. The odds have come out on Cameron vs. Ben Whittaker. And you get 4.33 on Cameron and 1.25 on Whittaker. So they're making Whittaker a big favourite, despite the fact he quit. He was getting a hiding and he should have lost that fight. And we get this a lot, especially in British boxing. You'll get a prospect, he gets beaten or gets a hard fight from obviously it was a draw, but most people had Cameron winning. They have a hard fight against a guy who's not expected to win, and they immediately have a rematch. And usually, not always, but usually in the rematch, the prospect will win. And I think a lot of that is, unfortunately, because it's a slight fixed situation where the promoter will go, look, you're not going anywhere. Like, imagine you said it's Cameron or to Dave Allen or any of these guys. You guys are not going anywhere. I'm talking Dave Allen because of the Johnny Fisher match. If they do a rematch, I'm sure it'll be a case of, look, we'll offer you this fight and you get your biggest payday ever or one of your biggest paydays and you're coming to the end of your career. You're in your mid-30s, but you know what you got to do? Whittaker's our prospect and we need him to carry on. We just want you to know that. If you're not down with that, you're not down with that. And we've got to find another opponent. And that's what I fear in this fight. That, they're going to have a word with Liam. And say, look, Ben Shalom has set up this fight. And he obviously thinks Whittaker is going to win, and so do the bookies. I think he will win, but I think it will be because Cameron will have been talked into losing on points. Having said that, Liam's a warrior and he's enjoying his time in the limelight, so maybe not. I mean, also Liam's been signed by Queensberry, by Frank Warren. So he's got the backing of a big promoter now. So he may not, be expected. He may not, he may well train very hard and try and win the fight. It might not be a case of, okay, I'll get the payday and I'll kind of, lay down and lose on points like Otto Wallin or David Morrell or all the normies and NPCs say, you don't know anything about boxing. Go away, man. Get out of here. This ain't a channel for you. This is a truth-talking channel, blood. So, the fact that Cameron's been signed by Warren and that he's a game guy and he had to take 4 years off and it's his turn in the limelight, it does actually make me think he is going to try. And in which case, we've got a super interesting fight. And Ben Shalom, the golden calf in Shalom's stable was Ben Whittaker and Azim. But Whittaker, obviously, the shine's gone off him. Funnily enough, the show is actually, it's in Birmingham, England, but it's on a Sunday the 20th of April, which is quite interesting. Usually aren't a lot of big shows on a Sunday. I like it. I like that. They had, one of the biggest British fights ever, and certainly one of the most watched, was Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank 1, and that was on a Sunday. People forget that. The next day in work, I was working in a stove. And, everyone was talking about it before and after. The next day, even people don't know nothing about boxing, or usually would never watch boxing. Everyone was talking about it. Those were the days, man. And I don't think everyone's going to be talking about Ben Whittaker, Beast Cameron, but, I assume it'll be on Sky because it's a Shalom show. But, that obviously, I'm very surprised that Whittaker took the rematch, or that Shalom took the rematch, because, it'll make some money for both these guys, but it's been proved it's a dangerous fight. Liam's game, he's tough. He was beating Whittaker when Whittaker quit. In the press conference, Whittaker tries to make a joke out of it. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, I was getting beaten up. And, I threw myself over the ropes and pretending to be injured. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, like WWE. And everyone's looking at him going, but you did. That's the truth. And I think even Liam Cameron said, yeah, but you did. That's exactly what happened. Whittaker ain't the sharpest tool in the box at all, and his eyes are too close together. So Liam Cameron's hooks are going to damage him. All I want to say is if it's a fair fight, a decent fight, there ain't no shenanigans, Liam Cameron's got a good chance again. It could be that Ben Whittaker was taking him lightly last time. He didn't train hard because he thought, I'm too slick, I'm too good. David Gay, so the Gay maker, David Hay early on in his career wasn't really training hard enough until he met Thompson. And then he gassed against Thompson, who stopped him. And after that, Hay decided, I'm going to take my training seriously. And he completely turned his career around. So it could be that kind of scenario. People think I'm a Ben Whittaker hater. I'm not. I just think his eyes are too close together. I think he's stupid. He talks too much. And I just think he's not nearly as good as he thinks he is, or Ben Shalom thinks. And it's a dangerous game, his showboating at light heavyweight. The Prince Nazim could get away with it because guys just don't hit that hard at featherweight. The Prince did. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, when the hands down style and the showboating is difficult to get away with when you're in the bigger weights. I mean, Ali, I guess, did it, And there are fighters that keep their hands a bit low. David Haig, George Groves, for example. But when they're close, they'll put their hands up. It's only when they're on the outside, and you see a lot of fighters and that's fine. When you're on the outside, it also helps your vision, because if you got your gloves up around your face, it blocks a lot of your vision, peripheral vision and all that. But when you're looser with your hands a bit lower, you can see exactly what's going on. So I get that style. You do have to have good reflexes, though, and Whittaker does have good reflexes, but it wasn't good enough last time. So, I find the odds a bit weird, but, it implies that, to imply that Cameron is a 4.33 underdog after basically beating Whittaker is a bit weird. Like I said, it happens, and I can think they're only basing that on the fact that, they'll think it was a one-off sort of situation, and Whittaker didn't train properly, and he did gas. I'm pretty sure he's going to train properly for this one, because if he loses to Cameron, that's it for Whittaker. You're nothing now. Yeah. It's not Cameron's a bad fighter. He's a decent fighter, but he's 23-6-1, and he's not a puncher. He's not the world beater. And Ben Whittaker is going to be the jewel in the crown for Ben Shalom, Ben Shalom. Right? So, at this stage, prediction-wise, I've got to see these guys weigh in and see what... If Liam's in super shape, he's got a good chance. I expect that Whittaker didn't train hard enough. I would have him the favourite, but not by the amount the bookies have. As I said, Liam's also got the backing of Frank Warren. I think it's a bit of a bad choice for Shalom, but then he doesn't know anything about boxing. So, you know, I mean, I know there's a big call for it and all that, and people are talking, but so what, man? Sometimes you just gotta, you can't let pride mess with your head. And yeah, they were both, that the fight will sell, but, you know, 1 minute you're thinking Ben Whittaker will be undisputed light heavyweight champion, the biggest British star, and now he's just reduced to a, a much lower level. A much lower level. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. If I had to bet my life on it, I would say Ben Whittaker will win on points because he will train very hard. But, a good fight. I'm surprised Shalom took it. And the much more experienced, obviously, Frank Warren knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. And he signed Cameron. And he will get him a good payday. And he will make sure that, you'd assume if he's got some faith enough to sign him on, means that, you know, he has some faith in Liam Cameron, you know. Although he knows he's never going to be a world beater, he'll sell some tickets. And if he beats Whittaker, then he becomes a big name. And he's made a name for himself. People go on about he goes on about his sob story. Well, you know, whatever, man. You know. He's made a name for himself after being unfairly treated by British Boxing Board of Control. I wonder if his missus will watch from the Nick. Do they have Sky TV in the Nick? I mean, someone probably have a smartphone. So yeah, but yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with this Shalom show. I'm happy. I'm not going to Birmingham though to watch it, but I'll watch it on a stream for sure. Yeah, peace, guys. Oh, sorry. Before I go, I forgot to mention. So. Yeah, Ben Whittaker goes on about being a what's it called? A Christian. And he said it at the beginning. He goes on about being a Christian, but he's clearly he does all this secret society symbolism, one eye symbolism, hidden face, hidden hand. Check it out. And also, I think, is the 20th of April Easter? Right? We all know Ben Shalom prefers a hat, a very small hat, and you know, is he choosing that date to mock? Is he going to do something like the resurrection, you know, or like mock, you know, Jesus and Christianity? You know, he wouldn't be the first person with that size hat to do that, right? So. You gotta keep your eyes on everything. None of this stuff happens by chance, okay? Yeah, April 20th is Easter Sunday, when Jesus Christ rose. That is not by chance, okay? That is not by chance. How many shows have there been on Sunday recently? Like I said, last one I remember, the big one, was Ben Eubanks. And now this is on Easter Sunday, and it's a Ben Shalom show. Very suspicious. Very suspicious.